Welcome to French Avenue. Microphone.
Welcome to French Avenue microphone.
Bienvenue. S'installer dans un nouveau pays, c'est toute une aventure. On pense aux grandes étapes, trouver un travail, un appartement, on coche toutes les cases, et puis on se rend compte qu'il en manque une. Et peut-être la plus importante, en fait, se faire des amis.
Ah oui, c'est là que le vrai défi commence.
Complètement. On peut parler la langue, tout avoir sur le papier, et pourtant se sentir profondément seul. C'est vraiment le point de départ des documents qu'on analyse aujourd'hui, qui sont tirés d'un guide « L'art de se faire des amis en France ». Et la thèse de départ est assez directe, je trouve.
Oui, elle est même un peu provocante. L'idée, c'est que si on échoue à s'intégrer, ce n'est presque jamais à cause du travail. C'est quasi toujours une question sociale, un échec de connexion.
C'est ça. Notre mission, aujourd'hui, c'est donc de déchiffrer ce qui ressemble à une véritable code secret pour créer du lien.
Exactement. Et ce qui est fascinant, c'est que ce code, il n'est pas seulement linguistique. On peut avoir un français parfait et passer complètement à côté.
Ah oui, oui.
Oui, c'est une question de culture, de rituel. Une invitation qu'on formule mal, un refus un peu trop sec, et hop, sans le vouloir, on a créé une barrière. On va essayer de décortiquer un peu la mécanique de tout ça.
Et il y a ce grand cliché qu'on entend tout le temps, les Français seraient fermés.
Tout le monde a entendu ça.
Mais le guide propose une nuance qui, je trouve, change tout. Il ne me dit pas fermé, il dit sélectif.
Et c'est toute la différence.
Oui, ce n'est pas un mur, mais plutôt une porte. Il faut juste savoir comment frapper.
C'est une excellente image, ça. Il ne s'agit pas de forcer le passage, mais de comprendre comment on sonne, comment on se présente et comment on est invité à entrer. C'est un apprentissage, en fait.
Bon, alors, par où on commence cet apprentissage français ? Le premier truc qui m'a vraiment frappé dans ce guide, c'est le vocabulaire. Je pensais, un peu naïvement, qu'un ami, c'était un ami, point. Mais en fait, c'est beaucoup plus subtil.
Ah oui, c'est fondamental. C'est une sorte de cartographie des relations. Le mot « ami » en France, il est utilisé avec beaucoup de précautions. Il a un poids. Il désigne une relation très forte, presque sacrée.
D'accord.
Avant d'arriver là, il y a plusieurs cercles. Le plus large, c'est une connaissance. C'est simple. Quelqu'un qu'on croise, on connaît son nom, et ça s'arrête là.
Ok. Et après, si on se rapproche un peu ?
Le cercle suivant, c'est un copain ou une copine. Alors là, c'est un terme beaucoup plus léger. C'est le collègue avec qui on va déjeuner, le voisin qui on parle. Il y a de la sympathie, on fait des choses ensemble, mais on ne partage pas forcément d'intimité.
Et c'est là qu'il peut y avoir des malentendus, j'imagine.
Exactement. Confondre un copain avec un ami, c'est s'exposer à des déceptions. On peut attendre un soutien ou une confidence que la relation n'implique tout simplement pas.
C'est vrai que ça clarifie les attentes. Et alors, il y a ce mot que j'entends partout, pote. C'est un pote à moi. Ça se situe où, ça ?
Ah, un pote, c'est déjà beaucoup plus proche. C'est un mot très familier, très chaleureux. C'est, on va dire, un copain avec qui il y a une vraie complicité, une histoire. C'est un ami, mais dans un langage plus informel, quoi.
D'accord.
Et tout au centre, bien sûr, il y a le meilleur ami, la meilleure amie. Le noyau dur. Comprendre cette hiérarchie, c'est déjà éviter de faire des faux pas.
Et il y a aussi cette précision sur le genre. Un ami, une amie. À l'oral, aucune différence. Mais à l'écrit, si. C'est un détail, mais ça montre bien la précision de la langue sur ce sujet.
Tout à fait. La langue, elle reflète ses codes. Et ces codes, on les voit surtout quand on passe à l'action.
Justement, parlons-en de l'action. On a la carte, mais ça ne nous dit pas comment rencontrer ses potes et ses copains. Tout commence par l'invitation, non ?
Oui, et c'est le moment charnière. C'est là que, bien souvent, la première erreur est commise, sans même qu'on s'en aperçoive.
L'erreur typique, ce serait quoi ? D'après ce que j'ai lu, c'est le flou.
C'est exactement ça.
Lancer un « il faudrait qu'on se voit un de ces quatre » ou « on s'appelle ».
On a l'impression d'être sympa, ouvert, et en fait, on envoie le signal inverse. En France, une invitation vague comme ça, c'est souvent interprété comme une formule de politesse. Vide. Une non-invitation.
Ah oui, carrément.
Oui, la personne en face entend juste « il dit ça par politesse, mais il n'a pas vraiment envie de me voir ». Pour qu'une invitation soit prise au sérieux, elle doit être concrète.
C'est-à-dire ?
Avec tous les détails.
Voilà.
Le guide est très clair là-dessus. Il ne faut pas dire « on se voit quand », mais plutôt « tu es libre jeudi soir pour un verre vers 19h ».
La différence est énorme.
Énorme, parce que ça montre un intérêt sincère. Ça prouve qu'on a réfléchi, qu'on est proactif et surtout qu'on respecte le temps de l'autre en lui faisant une proposition claire. L'ambiguïté, c'est c'est perçu comme un manque d'engagement.
Et le type d'invitation aussi, ça compte. Le mot magique qui revient tout le temps, c'est l'apéro. Pourquoi ce rituel est si central, Sam?
Parce que l'apéro, c'est la porte d'entrée sociale idéale. Inviter quelqu'un à dîner, c'est tout de suite très engageant.
Ça implique toute la soirée.
Exactement. Plusieurs heures, un repas complet, c'est plus formel. L'apéro, lui, est beaucoup plus souple, ça peut durer 1 heure ou 3. C'est informel, c'est un investissement en temps et en énergie bien plus faible.
C'est une sorte de test social à faible enjeu, si je comprends bien. On voit si ça colle sans s'engager pour toute une soirée.
C'est une très bonne façon de le voir. C'est l'étape parfaite pour transformer une connaissance en copain. C'est moins intimidant pour tout le monde.
C'est fou de voir que même la grammaire joue un rôle. Il y a des conseils très précis là-dessus, par exemple sur l'utilisation du futur proche.
Ah oui, c'est un détail très révélateur.
Dire « on va prendre un verre » sonne plus spontané, plus oral que le futur simple.
Oui, et il y a aussi le conditionnel. On pourrait aller boire un verre. Ça, c'est perçu comme très poli.
Pourquoi?
Parce que ça ne met aucune pression. C'est une suggestion. On explore une possibilité ensemble. Ça laisse à l'autre une porte de sortie très confortable s'il n'est pas disponible ou pas intéressé. Ce n'est pas une demande, c'est une perche comptant.
Et puis il y a ce fameux pronom « on » que le guide appelle le pronom de l'amitié. C'est drôle, je n'y avais jamais pensé, mais c'est tellement vrai.
Ah, mais ça change tout.
Dire « on va au ciné » au lieu de « nous allons au cinéma », l'ambiance n'est pas la même du tout.
Absolument pas. Le « nous » peut être un peu formel. Il peut même parfois dresser une barrière entre nous et toi. Le « on », lui, c'est une bulle. Il est immédiatement familier. Il crée une complicité instantanée. Quand quelqu'un commence à utiliser « on » avec vous, c'est souvent un très bon signe.
D'accord, donc l'invitation est lancée de manière précise, avec le bon ton. Maintenant, la réponse. Si on veut accepter, la consigne c'est « montrer votre enthousiasme ».
Oui, absolument. Un simple « oui » peut sonner un peu froid. Alors que des expressions comme « avec plaisir »,« volontiers » ou « super idée »,« je suis partante », c'est beaucoup plus chaleureux.
Ça valide l'effort de l'autre, en quelque sorte.
Voilà, ça montre qu'on est sincèrement contente. L'enthousiasme, c'est un peu le carburant de la relation qui commence.
Et maintenant, la partie la plus délicate, le refus. Là, il y a une règle d'or, un protocole en 2 temps, j'ai l'impression.
C'est ça.
Ne jamais, jamais dire non de manière sèche. J'imagine le malaise si on répondait juste non.
Ce serait perçu comme extrêmement impoli, oui, presque une porte claquée au nez. Le protocole est crucial. Première étape, toujours donner une justification.
Pas besoin de raconter sa vie, j'imagine.
Non, non, une raison brève et honnête suffit. Ah, désolé, je ne peux pas jeudi, j'ai déjà quelque chose. Ou demain, j'ai un imprévu ce soir-là.
Et la deuxième étape,
Celle qui sauve la relation.
c'est de contre-proposer. Immédiatement. C'est ça la clé. Je ne peux pas jeudi. Mais que dirais-tu de vendredi soir? Je suis libre. Ce mécanisme, il est essentiel. Il envoie un message très clair. Ce n'est pas toi que je refuse, c'est le créneau horaire. Ça montre que l'intérêt est toujours là. Ça désamorce complètement le rejet potentiel. C'est une nuance fondamentale. Et il y a une autre règle d'or quand on est invité à la maison.
Ah oui, le fameux « ne jamais arriver les mains vides ». C'est un pilier du savoir-vivre. Si quelqu'un vous ouvre sa porte, pour un dîner ou même un apéro, c'est impensable de venir sans rien.
Les classiques, c'est la bouteille de vin, les fleurs, des chocolats. Mais au fond, pourquoi c'est si important? C'est plus qu'une simple convention.
Oh oui, bien plus. C'est une marque de gratitude. En vous invitant chez lui, votre hôte vous ouvre son espace privé, son intimité. Il fait un effort. Apporter quelque chose, c'est une manière de dire « merci pour ton hospitalité ». Ne pas le faire, ce n'est pas vu comme de l'avarice, mais comme un manque de considération. C'est un petit geste avec une portée symbolique immense.
Pour que tout ça soit moins abstrait, le guide raconte une histoire que j'ai trouvée très parlante. Celle de Marco, un expatrié qui était au bord du gouffre social.
Oui, c'est l'exemple parfait de la théorie mise en pratique. Marco, il arrive en France, il a un bon boulot, des collègues polis, mais c'est tout. Le soir, le week-end, le désert total. Il se sentait, c'est ses propres mots, invisible. Il était tombé dans le piège du cliché. Les Français sont fermés, ils me veulent pas de moi.
Et qu'est-ce qui a tout changé pour lui? Le déclic.
Une phrase toute simple. Un vendredi, une collègue lui lance « On va boire un verre après le boulot. Tu viens ?»
L'invitation parfaite, concrète, pour un apéro.
Exactement. Et il raconte qu'au début, il a paniqué. La peur de ne pas savoir quoi dire, d'être ennuyeux. Et puis il s'est dit « Bon, après tout, qu'est-ce que j'ai à perdre ?» Et il a répondu un simple oui, avec plaisir.
Le fameux enthousiasme. Et ça a marché.
Ça a tout changé. Si on analyse ce qu'il a fait, c'est très intéressant. Premièrement, il a dit oui à une invitation à faible enjeu, un verre, accessible.
D'accord.
Deuxièmement, au bar, il n'a pas essayé de briller. Il a juste posé des questions ouvertes. Et toi, tu fais quoi ce week-end? C'est sympa ce quartier. Il a montré de la curiosité.
Il s'est intéressé aux autres tout simplement.
C'est ça. Et le courant est passé. Tellement bien que quelques semaines plus tard, il est invité à dîner chez l'une de ces personnes. Et là, deuxième bon réflexe.
Il n'est pas venu les mains vides.
Il a appliqué le code. Il a apporté une bonne bouteille de vin. Et ses hôtes ont été visiblement touchés par le geste.
Et pendant le dîner, comment il s'est comporté?
Il a trouvé le bon équilibre. Il a parlé un peu de son pays, de sa culture, ça a intéressé les autres. Mais il a surtout posé beaucoup de questions sur la leur. Il n'a pas fait un monologue. Il a créé un vrai échange. Et à la fin, en partant, il a lancé « C'était super, merci beaucoup, on se refait ça bientôt, chez moi.
Il a rendu l'invitation. Il a été proactif, la boucle est bouclée. »
Voilà.
Alors, la morale de l'histoire de Marco, c'est quoi?
Que l'amitié, c'est un coup de chance?
C'est tout le contraire. La conclusion du guide est très claire. L'amitié n'est pas tombée du ciel. Elle s'est construite pas à pas. Marco a réussi parce qu'il a arrêté d'attendre passivement. Il a commencé à utiliser les bons outils. Invitation concrète, réponse enthousiaste, petits cadeaux, curiosité, proactivité. Il a appliqué la grammaire de l'amitié, quoi. Ce que je retiens de tout ça, finalement, c'est que se faire des amis en France, c'est moins une question de personnalité. On n'a pas besoin d'être la personne la plus extravertie du monde.
Non, pas du tout.
C'est plus une question de compréhension d'un mode d'emploi. C'est presque une compétence qui s'apprend.
C'est une excellente façon de le résumer. C'est une compétence sociale qui s'appuie sur des codes clairs, la clarté, la politesse, le respect des rituels. Une fois qu'on a compris cette logique, ça devient beaucoup moins intimidant.
Le message, c'est qu'il faut oser, mais oser de la bonne manière. La peur du rejet nous paralyse souvent, mais là, en suivant ces étapes, on maximise ses chances.
C'est ça. Une proposition concrète et polie a beaucoup plus de chances d'être bien reçue que de créer un malaise. Et cette proactivité valorisée. Attendre que les autres viennent à vous, ça peut durer longtemps. Alors que prendre l'initiative, même pour un simple apéro, c'est un signe d'ouverture qui est très apprécié.
Pour conclure, il y a une phrase dans le guide qui m'a vraiment fait réfléchir.
Ah oui?
L'amitié ne tombe pas du ciel. Elle se construit, elle se travaille, elle se parle. Et ça m'amène à une question qui dépasse le simple cadre de l'expatriation. Si l'amitié ici est présentée comme une compétence qui s'apprend et se pratique avec des gestes et des mots précis, dans quels autres domaines de notre vie est-ce qu'on attend passivement que les choses arrivent, alors qu'en réalité, on pourrait nous aussi activement les construire?
Okay, I want you to picture something. It's a Sunday night. It's raining, and let's just say it's Paris, so, it's probably raining.
It's definitely raining.
And you are sitting in this very charming, very, expensive apartment that you've fought tooth and nail to rent.
Right.
You've got the high ceilings, the moldings, the whole aesthetic. You have a job that sounds, super impressive on LinkedIn. You can even order a coffee in French without, stuttering.
You've made it.
By all the metrics, you have absolutely made it. You are the successful expat.
And yet,
there's this pit in your stomach because you start to realize the only person you've spoken to all weekend was the cashier at Franprix.
oof, yeah.
You're scrolling through Instagram, you're seeing your friends back home hanging out, and you just feel this crushing sense of isolation.
Yeah.
You are, professionally thriving, but socially, you're starving.
That is such a visceral image, but it's one we see constantly in the research on this. It's what sociologists call the expat paradox.
Like expat paradox.
Yeah, you master all the logistics, the taxes, the metro, the lease, but you completely fail the human element. And the source material we're diving into today, The Art of Social Integration, it identifies this loneliness not as just a side effect, but as enemy number one.
Enemy number one. That sounds dramatic, but for anyone who's lived abroad, I think that lands.
It's not dramatic at all when you look at the data. Loneliness is the primary reason people pack up and leave a country they thought they were going to love.
Wow.
They get stuck in what we call the expat bubble.
Yeah.
They hang out with other English speakers because it's
easy.
it's comfortable. It requires zero cultural decoding.
Right. But deep down, you feel like you're living on a movie set. You're not actually in the country.
You're a tourist with a utility bill. That's what you are.
Yeah.
So the mission of this deep dive today is to destroy that bubble. Or, as the text puts it, to brisk the barrier between the learner and the locals.
I like that.
we are going to treat social integration not as this, like, mystical thing that happens if you're lucky, but as a hard skill, a mechanic.
I love that framing because usually we think of friendship as chemistry, right? It's like falling in love. You can't really force it.
Right.
But this source is arguing that actually, no, there is a manual. There are levers you can pull.
Chemistry helps,
Yeah.
for sure. But in a foreign culture, chemistry is useless if you don't know the protocol. You can be the funniest, most charming person in the world, but if you don't know how to navigate the codes of French friendship, you will stay on the outside. So we're going to look at friendship like a ladder or, a video game with levels.
Okay.
You have to unlock them one by one.
And to help us sort of visualize this, we're going to be following a specific case study through this whole thing. We're calling him Marco.
Marco is our avatar. He's been in France for 2 years. He's smart. He's capable.
But he's eating dinner alone every single night.
Every night, he feels invisible. And he's fallen into the trap of thinking the French are cold. So throughout this deep dive, we're going to see where Marco is going wrong and how he can use these tools to fix it.
So let's tackle that elephant in the room right away. Marco thinks the French are cold. That is the stereotype, isn't it? The rude Parisian, the closed-off local. Is he right?
He is wrong, but he's wrong in a very specific way. The source material makes this really critical distinction. The French are not closed. They are selective.
It sounds like a very polite way of saying snobby.
It can definitely feel that way to an American or an Australian. But think of it like this. In a lot of Anglophone cultures, we're peaches.
Peaches.
We are soft and fuzzy on the outside. You meet someone, and instantly you're smiling, you're sharing life stories, you're inviting them to a BBQ.
Totally.
But, and here's the catch, that softness masks a really hard pit. It's actually quite difficult to get to the deep inner circle of, say, an American. We're friendly to everyone, which ultimately means that friendliness is cheap.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Friendly to everyone means friendliness is cheap? That hits hard.
Whereas the French, and the source uses this analogy, are coconuts.
Coconuts. Okay.
They have a really hard outer shell. It's tough to crack. You have to work at it. You have to prove you're worth the effort.
What?
But once you crack that shell, you are in. You're in the soft, sweet center, and you are there for life. Marco is basically banging his head against the coconut shell and calling it rude.
He doesn't realize it's just a protective layer.
Exactly.
So our goal today is to give Marco and, you listening, the hammer to crack the coconut.
And the first part of that hammer is vocabulary.
It is. I was reading this section on the hierarchy of friendship, and it really struck me how loose we are with the word friend in English.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I call the guy who fixes my car my friend. I call the person I met 5 minutes ago my friend.
And if you do that in France, people will think you're, a little insane. Or at the very least, very superficial. The French language creates these rigid silos for relationships. You can't mix them up.
So let's walk through this hierarchy. At the very bottom, we have the connaissance.
The connaissance, the acquaintance. This is the baseline. This is the person you know of.
Okay.
Maybe you work on the same floor. Maybe you see them at the gym. You say bonjour. You might, comment on the weather.
But that's it.
That's it. You do not know their middle name.
Yeah.
And you certainly don't know their trauma.
Now, in the U.S., being just an acquaintance feels like a failure, doesn't it? It feels like a relationship that's stalled.
Yes, a stopped relationship.
Yeah.
But the source material suggests the French are actually really comfortable here. This is a stable state.
So a connaissance isn't a failed friend.
No, it's a valid social category with its own rights and duties.
Rights and duties. That sounds so legalistic.
It is, in a social sense. The duty you have to a connaissance is politeness. You have to acknowledge them. If you walk past a connaissance without saying bonjour,
you've declared war.
You have declared social war. But, and this is the right, you owe them zero emotional labor. You don't have to listen to their problems. You don't have to invite them to your birthday. It is a low-maintenance relationship.
That actually sounds kind of liberating. It's a clear boundary.
It's a massive boundary. And Marco's problem is that he tries to skip this stage entirely. He meets a colleague, a connaissance, and immediately tries to act like a best friend.
He's a peach.
He's a peach in a coconut world. He overshares. He pushes for intimacy. And the colleague just recoils because Marco is violating the rights of the connaissance stage. He's triggering the social immune system.
He's setting off all the alarms. Okay, so how do we move up? What's the next rung on the ladder?
The camarade.
Camarade.
This is often translated as comrade, which sounds a bit Soviet.
A little bit, yeah.
But in French, it really just means a peer in a shared context. You have camarade de classmates, camarade de sport.
So the bond is the activity itself.
Precisely. The activity is the glue. If you take away the activity, the relationship might just collapse. You hang out with your comrade at the judo club or in the university lecture hall. You have laughs, you have rapport.
But would you call them at 2 a.m. if your house was on fire?
Probably not. No. That's the next level up.
And that level is the holy grail, the pote.
The pote. This is your buddy, your pal. This is where the magic starts to happen.
So what's the difference between a comrade and a pote?
A pote is someone you choose to see outside of the obligatory context.
Ah, I see.
You choose to see them. You grab a beer, you watch a game, you complain about your boss. It implies a level of familiarity and real comfort.
Is pote slang? Like, is it professional to use it?
It is slang, yeah, but it's super common. You wouldn't use it in a job interview, but you would absolutely use it to describe your social circle.
Je sors avec mes potes. I'm going out with my buddies.
It sounds warm.
It's warm. It lacks the heaviness of the word ami.
Ami feels heavy. I thought that just meant friend. In English, friend is a total throwaway word. In French, un ami with a capital A is a title you earn. It implies loyalty, time, deep trust. You might only have 2 or 3 real amis in your entire life.
So if I introduce someone as mon ami and I've only known them for a week.
You sound really dramatic or just naive. You're claiming a depth that just doesn't exist yet.
Okay, now we have to talk about the trap. The landmine in the dictionary.
Oh, yes.
The copain versus copine disaster. I laughed out loud reading this because I have absolutely 100% made this mistake.
Everyone has. It's a rite of passage for every language learner.
So break it down for us. Copain looks like it means pal. It comes from copain, right? Like breaking bread together.
Etymologically, yeah.
Okay.
The one with whom you break bread. It sounds lovely and platonic.
And in the plural it is.
In the plural, les copains, it just means the gang or the buddies.
Yeah.
If you say je sors avec les copains, it's totally platonic. Everyone gets it. But in the singular, and specifically with a possessive pronoun, so mon copain or ma copain, it almost exclusively means my boyfriend or my girlfriend.
Oh, man. So if Marco is at a dinner party and he wants to talk about a female friend from work, let's call her Sarah, and he says, ma copine Sarah.
The entire table will go silent. They will immediately assume he is sleeping with Sarah. They'll assume they're a couple.
And if he just meant Sarah, my buddy from accounting,
then he has created a massive, massive misunderstanding. And the worst part is the French probably won't correct him right away.
No.
No, they'll just file that information away. Oh, Marco is dating Sarah. And then later, when Marco mentions he's single, they'll look at him like he's a liar or a cheater.
It's such a subtle linguistic shift. So how do you avoid it? I mean, if I want to talk about a female friend without implying we're dating, what do I say?
You have to do a little grammatical dance. You say, une copine à moi, a friend of mine, or you use une amie, or even just une collègue. You have to avoid the direct possessive ma.
So ma copine is the kiss of death for platonic clarity.
It absolutely is. It's fascinating how the language itself enforces these social boundaries. It's like the vocabulary is constantly telling you, define the relationship, be precise.
You can't just drift.
No drifting allowed.
Which brings us to the mechanics of actually moving people up that ladder. We know the levels. Marco is stuck at connaissance. He wants a pote. How does he cross that bridge?
He needs to issue an invitation. The invitation is the currency of social integration.
But this is where Marco fails, and honestly, this is where I fail. The source material talks about the failed invitation, and I felt so personally attacked.
Let me guess. It's the vague text message.
The vague text, on se voit quand? When are we seeing each other? I send this all the time. I think I'm being nice, flexible. I'm saying, hey, I'm easy. You tell me when you're free.
And from a French perspective, and frankly from a psychological one, you're being lazy.
Lazy. I'm being chill.
You are being lazy because you are offloading the cognitive load onto the other person.
The cognitive load.
Think about it. Marco texts his colleague, when are we grabbing a drink? Now the colleague has to stop what they're doing, open their calendar, scan for free time, think about a location that works for both of you, and then make a proposal. You have just assigned them homework.
Oh, wow. Put that way, it does sound really annoying.
It is annoying.
Yeah.
And because it's work, they'll procrastinate. They'll think, oh, I'll check my calendar later, and then they never reply. And Marco's left thinking, they hate me.
No, Marco, you just gave them a chore.
Exactly.
So what's the successful version? What's the text he should have sent?
The successful version is precise, it's concrete, and it's binary. Tu es libre jeudi soir pour un verre. Are you free Thursday night for a drink?
Why is that so much better?
Because the cognitive load is zero. All they have to do is check Thursday. It's a yes or a no. It's actionable. And even more importantly, it shows intent.
Right.
It shows you have thought about them, you have a plan, and you're taking the lead. In a culture that really values savoir-vivre, knowing how to live, being able to orchestrate a plan is a very attractive quality.
It's confidence.
It is confidence.
Right.
And confidence is social glue.
Now, the source suggests a very specific type of activity for this first bridge crossing invitation. Not dinner, not a movie, the apéro.
The apéro is the MVP of French social life. It's the minimum viable party.
Minimum viable party. I like that. So why not dinner? Why not just say, let's grab dinner?
Dinner is high risk. It's high stakes.
Oh.
A French dîner le dîner is a production. It's 3 courses. It's sitting at a table for 2 or 3 hours.
There's no escape.
There is no escape. If you sit down and realize 10 minutes in that this person is boring or you have absolutely nothing to say, you are trapped in a social nightmare.
And the French hate awkwardness.
Everyone hates awkwardness, but the French have basically structured their social life to minimize it at all costs. The apéro drinks and light snacks before the meal is the perfect exit ramp strategy.
Explain the exit ramp.
Okay, so an apéro can last just 45 minutes. You meet at a bar or even at someone's home. You have a glass of wine, some olives, maybe some saucisson. If it goes well, great. You can say, hey, do you want to stay for dinner? Or should we go grab a bite? You extend the social contract.
And if it doesn't go well, if it's a total disaster.
You finish your drink. You say, well, I have to get up early tomorrow. And you leave. And it's perfectly polite. You haven't broken the social contract because an apéro is designed to be short.
It's a trial period.
It is the safest way to test the waters. It's like a coffee date in the dating world.
Yeah.
Low investment, high potential.
Exactly. And the vocabulary matters here too, doesn't it? The source lists different types of outings. La soirée, la fête, la sortie.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
What's the difference? I mean, if I say je fais une fête versus je fais une soirée, is it a big deal?
It's a huge difference in energy. In fête implies loud music, dancing, maybe a bit of chaos. It's a party.
Right.
In soirée is the default term for an evening gathering. It implies conversation, mingling, maybe some background music, but the focus is on the people. If you invite a French person to a fête and it's just 4 people sitting on a couch eating chips, they will be very confused.
You've mislabeled the product.
You have. And une sortie is just an outing, going to a museum, going to the park. It's activity-based. So knowing these words lets you signal exactly what kind of energy you're proposing. It reduces the anxiety for your guest.
Okay, so Marco sends the text. Es-tu libre jeudi pour un apéro? He's been specific. He's chosen the low-risk format. Now we have to talk about what the source calls the geography of intimacy.
This is one of my favorite concepts in the whole thing.
The idea that where you meet actually determines who you are to each other.
Yes. In Anglo cultures, we invite people to our homes pretty easily, don't we? Hey, come on over. The home is kind of a semi-public space.
Right.
In France, the home is a sanctuary. It is a fortress of privacy.
So you don't start there.
Absolutely not. You start in the neutral zone. Au café, au restaurant, dans un bar. These are public spaces. They are safe.
Why are they safer?
Well, there's no pressure on the host to clean or cook, and no pressure on the guest to bring a gift or stay for a certain amount of time. You meet on neutral ground to sniff each other out.
So if Marco invites his colleague directly to his apartment for the very first hangout, that's a mistake.
It's aggressive. It might be seen as too much too soon. Or, God forbid, it could be interpreted as a seduction attempt. Come to my place carries a very heavy weight.
So when does that shift happen? When do you finally cross the threshold?
Usually after a few successful outings in the neutral zone, when the chemistry has been proven, then and only then comes the big invitation. Pourquoi tu ne passerais pas à la maison pour l'apéro?
Why don't you swing by the house for a drink?
That's the graduation ceremony.
It is. Crossing the threshold of someone's front door is a massive trust signal. It means you are no longer a stranger. You're becoming an insider. You're entering their private bubble.
Exactly.
I want to touch on the element of time, the temporal codes. We all know the stereotype about the French being late.
The cadeaux de politesse. The polite 15 minutes.
Is that real, or is it just a nice excuse for being disorganized?
Oh, it is very real. And it is very functional. And the source emphasizes this little word, verse, V-E-R-S. It means towards or around.
On se voit vers 20 heures. We'll see each other around 8.
If you tell a French friend, come at 8 p.m., and you expect them at 8 p.m. on the dot, you are setting yourself up for a lifetime of rage.
Huh.
But more importantly, if you show up at their house at 8 p.m. on the dot, you are being rude.
Wait, being punctual is rude. How does that work?
In a social context, it's someone's home.
Yes.
Because at 8 sharp, the host is likely still in the shower, or frantically chopping the last of the onions, or putting their makeup on.
Okay, I feel that.
That 15-minute buffer is a gift. It's a gift of time you give to the host. It allows them to transition from prep mode to host mode gracefully.
So showing up at 8:15 is actually the most polite thing you can do.
It's the considerate thing to do. But, and this is a key nuance, this only applies to social gatherings at home. If you have a reservation at a restaurant, you be on time. If it's a job interview, you be early. This is specifically for the relaxed social sphere.
Okay, let's pivot to something that I think scares a lot of language learners. Grammar.
The grammar of social grace.
Usually we learn grammar to pass a test, right? We learn conjugation tables, but the source argues that grammar is actually, it's social engineering. It's how you manage relationships.
It absolutely is. Grammar carries emotional weight. If you use the wrong tense or the wrong pronoun, you aren't just making a mistake on paper, you are sending the wrong social signal.
And the biggest example of this is the pronoun on versus nous.
This is huge. In school, you learn nous means we. Nous allons à la plage. It's technically correct, but in spoken French, nous is incredibly formal. It sounds like a politician giving a speech. Nous, le peuple.
It sounds really stiff.
It creates distance. It separates the speaker from the group. On the other hand, is a pronoun of friendship. On y va. On mange. Bon.
So grammatically, on is third person singular, right? Like one. One goes to the beach.
Technically, yes. But functionally, it means us. It's a conspiratorial us.
Yeah.
It blurs the line between you and me. It creates a team.
So if I text a friend, nous devrions nous voir, we should see each other.
You sound like a lawyer writing a contract. But if you say on se voit, you sound like a poté.
So on is the cozy blanket of French pronouns.
That's a perfect analogy for it, yeah.
Then there's the conditional tense. Je voudrais, tu pourrais. I mean, we learn this for ordering coffee politely. I would like a coffee. But you're saying it's actually a strategic tool for friendship.
It is the ultimate face-saving device.
Yeah.
France is a high-context culture. People do not like to give a direct no, and they really don't like to receive a direct order.
So directness is seen as aggression?
Often, yeah. So the conditional creates this buffer. Compare two sentences. On va au cinéma.
Are we going to the movies? Near future tense.
Right. It's direct. It demands a yes or no answer. If I don't want to go, I have to reject you. Non, je ne veux pas. And that creates friction.
Right.
Now try the conditional. On pourrait se faire un ciné.
We could do a movie.
I'm presenting a hypothesis. It's just a possibility floating in the air.
You're floating a trial balloon.
Exactly. And if I don't want to go, I don't have to reject you. I don't have to pick up the balloon. I can say, c'est une idée, mais je suis fatigué. It's so much softer. It allows everyone to keep their dignity.
It's the social exit ramp again, but in grammar form.
Precisely.
Huh.
If you are ever unsure of your standing with someone,
Yeah.
just default to the conditional. It protects your ego. If they say no, they aren't saying no to you. They're just saying no to the hypothesis.
That is such a subtle but powerful psychological trick. Now, speaking of saying no, the refusal. This is so hard for people pleasers. So Marco gets invited to a party, but he's exhausted. He wants to say no, but he's terrified that if he says no, they'll just never invite him again.
And that is a valid fear. In expat life, invitations are like gold dust. You feel like you have to say yes to absolutely everything.
Right.
But you can say no, provided you use what the source calls the refusal sandwich.
I'm intrigued. What is the refusal sandwich?
Okay, you never, ever, ever just say non. A dry non is a slap in the face. It ends the relationship. So, the sandwich has 3 layers.
Okay.
Layer 1, the apology. Désolé, or quel dommage. What a shame. You have to show that you wanted to go.
You have to perform disappointment.
You have to perform disappointment, yes. Layer 2, the justification. You must give a reason. Je travaille, j'ai déjà un truc, ma famille est là. It doesn't even have to be a wildly detailed excuse, but the slot must be filled.
You can't just not want to go.
No, you must be prevented from going by external forces.
Right.
I don't feel like it is not a valid reason. That just insults the host.
Okay, so apology, justification. What's the last layer?
Layer 3, and this is the most critical part if you want to keep the friend, is the pivot, the alternative proposal.
Pas jeudi, mais vendredi. Not Thursday, but Friday.
Exactly. Ce soir c'est mort, mais la semaine prochaine avec plaisir. Tonight's a no-go, but next week with pleasure. By proposing a new time immediately, you prove that your no is circumstantial, not personal.
You're rejecting the date, not the person.
Yes. That keeps the ball in play. If you just say, désolé, je ne peux pas, the ball drops. The game is over. They will not ask you again.
This brings us to the rituals of actually hanging out. So let's say Marco succeeded. He sent the specific text. He used Henri. He invited them for an apéro. Now he's been invited back. He's going chez someone.
He's graduated.
The source has a very strict rule here.
Don't come empty-handed.
Is this really that strict? Can I not just bring my charming personality?
We know. You cannot. To arrive empty-handed, les mains vides, is mal vu. It's seen as rude, but it's more than that. It's seen as parasitic.
Parasitic. Wow, that's a strong word.
It is, but think about the anthropology of it. The host is providing the space, the food, the heating, the cleaning. They are investing resources in you. If you show up with nothing, you're just a consumer. You're not participating in the exchange.
So what's the right thing to bring? A toaster? A new car?
Keep it simple. Consumables are always best. A bottle of wine is the gold standard. Flowers are classic. They'll maybe ask the florist for advice so you don't accidentally bring funeral flowers.
Good tip.
And chocolate is always safe. It's not about the monetary value. It's the symbol. It's a gesture that says, I acknowledge your effort and I am contributing to the collective joy.
It's the ticket for entry.
And this ties into the broader concept of reciprocity. Friendship in France is described in the source as an investment. It's an economic exchange of emotional energy.
So if I invite you, you are socially obligated to invite me back at some point.
Eventually, yes. If Marco is always the guest and never the host, the relationship becomes unbalanced. He becomes a client of the friendship, not a partner. To fully integrate, Marco has to take the risk of hosting. He has to open his own coconut shell for others.
So let's check in on Marco one last time. We've given him this whole toolkit, the vocabulary, the invitation strategy, the grammar, the bottle of wine. How does his story end?
Well, the turning point in the case study is when Marco stops waiting. He stops feeling sorry for himself on those Sunday nights.
He stops being the victim of the expat paradox.
Exactly. A colleague says, pre-casually, on va boire un verre vendredi. We're going to grab a drink Friday.
Okay.
Now, in the past, Marco might have hesitated. He might have worried about his French being good enough. He might have just waited for them to drag him along.
But this time...
He immediately says, oui, avec plaisir. Yes, with pleasure. He shows that enthusiasm. He goes, he sits in the bar, he listens more than he talks, he makes mistakes, but he laughs at them.
He uses on.
He uses on. He buys a round of drinks. That's the reciprocity right there.
And what's the result of all this?
He isn't lonely anymore. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't some movie montage where he suddenly became the mayor of Paris. But he built a circle. He successfully moved a few people from connaissance up to pote. And that one thing changed his entire experience of the country.
He went from being a tourist with a lease
to being an insider. And the key takeaway from his story is that he succeeded because he was proactive. He treated integration like a project. He invested in his own happiness.
That is such a powerful place to land. We often think of loneliness as something that happens to us, you know, like the weather. Oh, it's raining and I'm lonely.
Right, something you just have to endure. But the source suggests that loneliness is often just a result of passivity. If you sit in your apartment waiting for the French to come find you, you will wait forever. They're busy. They already have their circles.
You have to knock on the door.
You have to be the one to knock.
So to you listening right now, maybe sitting in that apartment and feeling those Sunday blues, here is your challenge.
Don't wait to be invited. Look at your phone right now. Find that connaissance you kind of vibe with and send the text.
Tu es libre jeudi pour un verre.
Use the handshake words we talked about. Apéro. On.
Plaisir.
Your future friends are waiting for you, but they can't hear you if you don't speak.
It's time to brisk that barrier. Get out there, buy a bottle of wine, not the cheapest one, maybe the second cheapest, and send that message. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.